So episode 24 starts with the Amora is back, Amora and Carl. So the girls are talking to Amora. The guys are talking to Carl and they're asking him if he's still interested in Anaya. And he was like, yeah, but my walls are up. But I mean, he still liked her, but he just have, I mean, I don't blame him. And Dylan was like, she needs to prove that she needs to prove herself to you. She needs to cook you breakfast. Ugh. And then KC had the nerve to say, I'm glad Carl's back so she can get off my dick. Whatever. I don't know who he thinks he is. They asked Sincere about Amora, and he was like, I don't know what kind of answer he gave. He was like, well, if I go down that road again, I'll explore it more carefully. It should have just been a no, according to him, the way he feels about Melanie. It should have been a no, I'm not going to explore it. The girls talked to Amora and asked her about her experience. And I think it was Kinsey who said, were you not disappointed, but were you surprised he didn't bring you back? And she said, no, I was just disappointed. But I think they were looking for, Kinsey was probably looking for her to say, to get some scoop on how Sincere was moving. And then Kata asked her about Zach, and she was like, Zach didn't do anything too crazy. He had a time, but not as much as KC. And then, um, Kata was like, what? But then Tiara pulled her aside and she's like, can I pull you for a chat? And didn't even let her finish talking. And she was just like, Tiara was on pins and needles. So when she gets to, when they get alone, she says, Sincere is different in here, and you need to tell her everything because he acts like he doesn't even know me, and he acts like you never existed. Like she was really trying to hype her up. Now we do want her to tell um, Melanie about how he was tripping, but I just felt like she really was trying to get something started. Kata was mad. She was pissed and she wanted to know. And she kind of got a little mad at Trinity because Trinity was trying to tell her, no, she meant he was at the way Zach was acting in a challenge. She's like, no, he wanted to say more. And she pulled her away. Why are you acting like I'm crazy? And then she just got up and said, Kata was like, I'm over this conversation. And she walked off. Trinity really didn't care. So Carl pulls a knife for a chat and everybody's all happy. And Casey had the nerve to wipe his brow like, phew, like, who? So Carl sits down and talks to her. They sit down in soul ties and they talk. And he said that he is interested in exploring. She asked if you will you forgive me, and he did. And she said, "Are you still interested in exploring?" He said yes, and she was surprised. She's like, "You are? I didn't think you would forgive me." But you could tell he wants to let her know he really didn't like that. And it was so funny because she said to him, she was like, I should have just listened to my heart and did what was best for me. And I was putting his feelings ahead of mine. And he was like, that's what I was told you. I told you to go with your heart. Like, so it really did bug him, which I don't blame him. But he did initiate a hug. She did not. So look at that smile on his face. So or not Anaya, Mora pulls Sincere for a chat, and he is trying. You can tell he's trying to keep his distance, and because he doesn't want to get in trouble with Melanie. And he said, "I hope you enjoy your time in the villa." And it was just pretty much. Oh, but while they were over there talking, and Mel kind of peeked to see what was going on. The girls were looking, and then Casey had the nerve to say, "Look at Mel," and then he said, "Oh, dumbass," and they were him and Tira were laughing and giggling. And I'm like, "What's funny?" I don't. I don't. That's very high school, first of all. So she told him she felt like he used that experience as a hall pass, and he did. That's exactly what he did. And he said he did not, um, and that it was a hard decision. I don't think he told Melanie it was a hard decision, but anyway, he said, "I wish you best in the villa or whatever." And he's like, "I'm glad you're back." She's like, "Do you? I mean, are you?" And so they get up, and she was like, "Let's hug it out." That hug it out business. I mean, I guess that's what they do, but I'm not hugging you. Like we're done. Like what's up with? I'm I'm with Anaya. What's up with the hugging? But anyway, so they hug and he goes, "Okay, big dog" or something. And she was like, "Big dog is crazy." So he's definitely trying to distance himself from what happened in Casa. Jen tells Gal, I think this is when she tells him that she doesn't think he likes her. she tells him that they're like they're not sexually compatible, it doesn't seem, and he doesn't compliment her. She can't think of one compliment. And he was like, and she said, I just feel like you're she basically said she feels like a placeholder. And he's like, no, I'm not looking to get to know anybody else. I'm not waiting for someone to have a problem or like sneak into a crack or something of someone's relationship. But he totally doesn't like he doesn't like her, and she should not have brought him back. She should have left him. When the minute she asked him if he was going to still explore Kinsey and he said yes, she shouldn't have picked him, but she did. They met to talk about well, he pulled Melanie to talk about his conversation with Amora, and of course Melanie made her points. He was lying. Same old, same old. Kate is mad about what Amora said. They got ready to go to bed, and Carl was like, he asked Amora what she wanted for breakfast because she didn't have anybody to make her breakfast, so he asked her. Then they showed Anaya listening, or she wasn't listening, but she heard what was said. But I don't know. She was probably just looking up, but production just made sure to make let us see that. The next day, Carl he brings her breakfast first, and then he brings a more breakfast, and he goes, "I don't want anybody to go hungry." Almost kind of making sure Anaya knows he's just doing that because he's being nice and he doesn't want her to go hungry. And then he's always complimenting what she's wearing or how she looks, and he told her he likes her outfit. I like them. I do. But I see, on the outside, I worry that Anaya's gonna do something. Like, I just feel like I like them together, but I don't know why I feel like Anaya's gonna mess it up if they make it far enough, like, and get out of the villa. That's just me. So Bryce and Zach are on the docks talking about well, Zach is talking about his issues with the things that Amora said and Kata being mad. And then he asks Bryce how he's doing. And Bryce said he's thinking about making it official with Trinity. Then he asked him if he's like in love or something, like if it's something. And Bryce said, "Isn't that the point?" He's like, "Yeah, but do you feel like you're falling in love now?" And he said, "I'm getting there." Zach, Zach ain't feeling it. Then Trinity gets a text and it says that her and Bryce are going on a date. This is one date I want to watch. Usually I don't want to watch the dates they have because it's people that I don't want to watch. So he was all like, "Take my lady," my lady. Zach likes to hear himself talk. He's giving him a pep talk and like, make sure you talk to him about what you want. Okay, he was. That's what he said he was gonna do. Like Zach is always talking. If you notice, he is always in somebody's conversation. He's always talking. He always has something to say. Sometimes you don't have to talk. So they get to go on a wave runner or jet ski, and he was like there's nobody, no better person he'd want to be out here with, and there they are. They really had a cute little date. It fit them. Okay, Kinsey is not funny. Like, so she's telling Katie, she's like, I had Dylan's breakfast, and then I went and got Gall, and I asked him to make me a coffee. She thought that was so cute. And no. So she was talking to Kata about the her dilemma and with both guys. And Kata, remember Kata had that conversation with Jen, and you could tell Jen and Kata were vibing and they were like, Kinsey doing too much, right? So when she mentioned Gall to Kata, Kata was like, yeah, but I just think Dylan is so sweet. And I knew she was gonna say something like that because she feels like Kinsey's doing too much. And then Kizzy gets some BS answer like, "Yeah, I mean, he owns a. I like that he owns a coffee shop, and I spend a lot of time in coffee shops." What? What is that conversation? So these two talk, and I don't think it's definitely not what Tierra wanted to happen, because when once she talked to an Melanie and she asked her what Sincere said. She said Sincere said you guys had a connection. So I don't think Amora felt like she needed to do a whole lot. And she just said, I guess you guys have a good connection because he did end up going back to you. And so that's all how that conversation went. It didn't do There wasn't a whole lot. Melanie did ask if they did anything sexual, and she's like, no, they had intimate moments. But there it turned out to be a decent conversation, so not a big blow up there.